بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum. This is Tayyaba Sabir. Today I'll talk about the drawbacks of Jahez pertinent to mother-in-laws and how it affects them and how it kind of hinders their abilities to play the role of a wise elderly of the family. Instead, it makes them feel like they've got a competition, and it just overall gives a very bad beginning to a very beautiful relationship. We have seen in our media and mostly heard from stories here and there. Mostly mother-in-laws are viewed as the witches. They're there to break the family. They're there to keep a control on their sons, and they are least concerned with the happiness of the daughter-in-law. But before the daughter-in-law enters the house, the Jahez enters the house in most cases. Or if she does, eventually the Jahez does enter the house, then the dowry is definitely not from the time that the mother-in-law got married. It's very current, it's very new, and it's very up to date and up to mark. And everything is made sure that it's good to go for today's world. So when this lady, this old woman who's spent her whole life bringing up this son, who's now a young man capable of heading a family of his own, she is already in a very insecure place where she doesn't know if all her life's work is going to go to waste if this daughter-in-law comes in and she's gonna take over her son, or she's gonna allow him to give her rights. She's already in a very insecure place where she can see that in this very house now there's going to be a different person with different set of skills, with youth and energy and health and fertility. So as a woman, she's already in a very insecure place. But that may be just in her head in most of the cases. She's not going to be talking about those things. They may be in the back of her mind, just nagging when she's too idle. But what Jahez does is, when dowry comes into picture, it just makes all those things very physical. It just makes it very apparent right in front of her eyes. She sees, she can compare. She might have to make space for her daughter-in-law's furniture, and in the process might have to get rid of some of her cherished furniture pieces or decoration pieces, or things from her past, things she's used and loved, that she had to part ways with just to make space for the brand new things to shine and make things look better than they used to. Not in her eyes, but in the eyes of other people. So when this Jahez comes into picture, it just materializes that insecurity in front of her for all the time that it's going to be there. She will have a clear comparison between her things and the things that daughter-in-law brings, her appliances and the appliances of daughter-in-law, her furniture and the furniture of daughter-in-law, and everything is going to remind her of her old age and of her, most probably, redundancy where appliances are concerned. So from this lady, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the picture that media paints, or the pictures that some unfortunate girls unintentionally paint in the innocent minds of girls to be married, that the the mother-in-laws are the witches. They're not. They're just human beings. Um, Dowry and things like these, and uh, some immaturity on the part of the son, some immaturity on the part of the daughter-in-law, turned this old lady who's not as healthy anymore into the witch that she becomes. When you have that comparison making you look old and feel old and redundant and obsolete, and the youth, um and then the comments of her sisters, most probably brothers or their spouses, um and if the husband, the father-in-law, is not a very wise guy, then of course the man that she has given her youth to, he might as well be pointing things and saying, okay, our son was luckier than I was in terms of dowry, or some insensitive comments that husbands tend to make when they're not as wise as they should be in certain situations. Maybe so. So these things are things which give a very start the relationship on a very wrong footing. And I hope that I have drawn the point home that it really does affect the relationship. That woman is not a witch. She is looking forward to having her grandchildren and take care of them, but these things, which have no need, and which she might herself be listing it down, but she has no idea, maybe if it's the first wedding, how they're going to affect her emotionally, because we are very unaware of our emotions, and we're very detached with our emotional selves. We're very unconcerned with about our self-esteem, and how when it's low we tend to act, and our fears, and how they make us oppressors, how they make us oppressors, while while thinking that we're defending ourselves, or we're defending our life's worth. So uh, some other things that will be an issue for the mother-in-law in case of dowry that the daughter-in-law brings, is that the daughters at her home are going to be making list of, or if in their immaturity they're going to be dropping hints, or maybe clearly demanding that this is what the daughter-in-law brought here, or their sisters-in-law brought, and that's what they want to do regardless of their financial status. So that could be an issue. That would definitely be an issue for her. Um, these are all things which I feel are just unnecessary burdens, unnecessary pains and aches that dowry brings along to the mother-in-law, who needs to have her mind in the right place, and who needs to have her head in the right place, and needs to be there to give compassion, to give guidance, to give love and care to that girl who's just leaving her whole family to begin a new family of her own, and being a part of this new family, and she needs love and care. She doesn't need to be put into competition with the source that could have been um, a source of compassion and mercy, had there not been such physical and very evident um, comparisons between the two ladies. That's my take on it. I'm sure there are many other women who might have gone through a lot of such negative uh, aspects of dowry regarding the mother-in-law. So I feel that if we manage to get this dowry bit out of the scenario our mother-in-laws would be a lot more kinder, because our daughter-in-laws or our sister-in-laws will be more careful with their furniture, with their appliances, knowing that, until and unless our husbands are settled enough, or they are able to bring in their appliances or furniture or whatever that's required by the family, by the couple, of their own money. These are the things I'm using, and this lady has kept them so well for so long, and I don't want to be the one who's ruining it and showing, her brought up as a bad one. So, and when you share things, you 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 practice tolerance. You're not as intolerant when you have your independent things. You're more intolerant because you're not used to sharing. See, what I've come across is that tolerance is also a muscle. Just like they say, there's another one, willpower. Just like willpower, tolerance is a muscle. You have to practice it, and you have to make it work. You have to exercise it. And when we have separate things, as we've seen, as our lives have separated, and everyone has their individual things. Nobody's we're losing our muscles of tolerance are not as fit as they used to be. So may Allah make us tolerant. May Allah help our mother-in-laws be better, and may Allah help us get rid of this curse and make their lives and the girls' lives and their parents' lives a lot more easier, inshallah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.